Sometimes you might feel like the whole world is against you. You might feel like every single step you take in the right direction is riddled with roadblocks, challenges, and redirection. On top of that, you may have people in your life that call you crazy, or that maybe they think you're crazy and they like to share that with others. They see what you're trying to do. They see that you're trying to get some exercise into your life, and maybe that you're trying a different eating approach that isn't the kind of way that they would eat, and they find the whole thing strange. Their first response might be, "She's obsessed with fitness," or, "Oh yeah, that guy's an exercise junkie," or, "Oh yeah, he's crazy. I just seen him post the other day that he ran 20 miles all in one day." And the sad part is, for some people, this can really cause some issues. They might find themselves taking a step back and asking themselves, is what I'm doing wrong? Is it a bad thing? Is it better if I just fit in and I could be normal like everyone else? Well, this week, I decided rather than give you some simple steps that you can follow, that I'd put something together that you could just simply listen to or watch and just experience and feel the message. I'm going to be sharing with you my perspective on how to deal with people that call you crazy. Let's dive in. Welcome to episode 19 of the LeRock Show, where I'm here to help you get your fitness back on track at any age and regardless of your current fitness level, so you can spend more quality time with your families, have a brighter outlook on life, and finally find the true joy that life has to offer. I'm your host, LeRock. I hope you're having an awesome day today, and we really are so lucky that we live in a free society where the majority of the things we do, they're up to us. I love having the opportunity to share with you another one of life's little lessons, and I'm pumped to be hanging out with you today. For those of you listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify today, thanks for hanging out as you go for your walk, driving your car, or maybe you're exercising in the gym. Thanks for hanging out. And if you're watching on YouTube, thanks for being here. I hope you're putting some action in place each week as I share these tips and tricks with you, getting you one step closer to where you want to be. And as always, I look forward to your comments, as your thoughts and opinions really do matter. Now, for those of you that are new to the show, I'm a 52-year-old online fitness coach. That's right, I just turned 52. And the cool thing about it is I feel like I'm younger than, if you reverse those numbers, I feel like I'm younger than 25. I have an extreme passion for health and fitness. My story is that I fell in love with health and fitness at a very young age. I began studying health and fitness at the young age of 13. And as a result, I developed a decent physique by the time I was in my late teens. But the problem with that is the story didn't end there. I ended up in my early 20s in a state of obesity for the first time. And I went through all kinds of, like a roller coaster ride in order to get where I wanted to be. I ended up going and working out in the gym for 2 to 3 hours a day and getting it all back and getting my muscles all back in shape. And I lost a bunch of weight. But guess what? 9 years later, I ended up obese for a second time. And it really made me take a step back and ask some really tough questions of what was happening to me. Why did I keep on ending up in this place of obesity? And why couldn't I get control over my health and fitness? And the second time around, that's when I found the true answers to long-term health and fitness. And each week, I share with you these simple, little, hard-earned lessons that I've learned in life that helped me to get out of the rut that I was in and take my life back and find out what true joy and happiness is all about. And my ultimate goal is to help you lose weight, help you keep the weight off for a lifetime, and to help you have a better life in the process. So like I said, this week I am taking a step back, and I'm going to share with you my perspective and my opinion and how I handle it when others might call you crazy. You know, doing what I do, being here out in public and sharing my opinions and thoughts on health and fitness, and also the way I live my life, getting some exercise in, and eating in a certain strategic way to keep me healthy and fit for a lifetime. Well, those things may seem odd to some people. So I know exactly what it's like when you're trying to make a real good change in your life, and others might think it's kind of strange. So I'm going to share with you my perspective on how you can deal with it. And unlike most weeks, There won't be any need to take some copious notes or have any homework. This is more something for you just to feel and lean into so you can absorb and get the message. Now, if you haven't done so already, you should go ahead and download my free gift. If you're like I was, maybe you're having some struggles with dieting. Maybe you feel you're at a point where there really isn't a diet that'll ever work for you. I understand what that's all about. Like I shared earlier, I found myself in a state of obesity, not only once, but twice. And I had vast knowledge when it came to health and fitness. I started studying health and fitness at the young age of 13. And I mean, I was well versed on exactly what the workout to do to build certain muscles in the body. I knew the exact nutritional approach to lose weight. I knew how much sleep you should get. I knew how much water you should drink. I knew the importance of supplementation. And I knew a myriad of other things. I was absorbed in it. And I still found myself in the state of obesity not only once, but twice. And the second time around, I ended up finding my way out. I created my own roadmap to get me out of that state of obesity, and it's lasted a lifetime. I ended up writing a book called Fit Anyway, the 9 Simple Directives to Win at Weight Loss and Change Your Life Forever. And I published that right as the pandemic was hitting. And then I also created an online course that walks the student through the whole process. It handholds the student through the process of not knowing anything about health and fitness, and actually at the end being healthy and fit and keeping it that way for a lifetime. Well, part of this training is directive number 3, automate your plate. It's an eating approach that I developed that's super simple and easy to follow. It lets you choose what you want to have on your plate. It gives you a ton of control, and it's something you can actually live with for the rest of your life. Take it from me, I've been doing it for more than 15 years now, and I'm telling you, if I hadn't taken up this eating approach and developed this eating approach, I don't think I'd be where I am today. I wouldn't be in the shape that I am, that's for sure. Now, those that have tried Automate Your Plate and done it correctly have had excellent results. For me personally, I managed to lose 65 pounds in 13 weeks. And that was more than 15 years ago. Think about that. So yes, my free gift is called the Automate Your Plate Checklist. You can go ahead and you can download it for free. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, you can go to ethanlerock.com/automate. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can click on the link I've left below and you can get it there. The Automate Your Plate Checklist takes everything that I teach in my book and in the online course, and it breaks it all down into a single page cheat sheet that you can begin using today as your very own quick start guide for automating your plate. So go ahead and download it and start benefiting from it today. So you're trying to get your butt back in shape. You know, maybe you're jumping in with both feet into this whole health and fitness thing. Maybe you've decided you're going to become a marathon runner. Maybe you've replaced scrolling on your cell phone with working out in the gym. And maybe you decide to bring some peace into your life through yoga or meditation. Maybe you've started a new and exciting eating approach. Maybe you tried to automate your plate. Or maybe you're trying some other exciting new diet. And unfortunately, maybe some people have noticed and have developed an opinion that maybe you're strange or that you're crazy. And maybe they've shared that opinion with others and it's gotten back to you. Or maybe it's just a vibe that you've picked up on. And best case, you're able to shrug it off and say, that's just their opinion, and go about your day. But worst case, you may be starting to question what it is that you're doing, whether what you're doing is normal. You know, maybe you are crazy and you're questioning that. No, seriously though, maybe you're starting to think, you know, should I be doing something differently? Is the amount of working out I'm doing, is it normal? Is the way I'm eating right now, is that normal? Is me taking, you know, at this point in my life, taking up some new thing, some new exercise, maybe some spiritual thing? Is that normal? And you're starting to question your own self and your own efforts. And that's why I put this episode together today. Well, before you decide to pack in all your health and fitness efforts in order to become normal and fit into the norm, I'm going to share with you some of my perspective on how I deal with these types of situations. I'm going to start out with the age-old response that our parents taught us, and I'll put a little bit of a different spin on it. The first thing that I would suggest, and that the way that I handle it, is consider the source. This person who seemingly thinks you're crazy or thinks you're awkward or thinks you're different because maybe you want to go out and run 20 miles, or maybe you want to hit the gym regularly on a regular basis, and you are in good shape, and they think it's strange that you're making that effort to do that, or that sees you automating your plate, like I suggest, walking around and meal prepping once a week and having your little containers with you, and they think that's all kind of strange. You should really consider the source, the person that you think is judging you. Are they living? And again, like always, the answers are always in us. And I always encourage you to ask tough questions. Ask reflective questions. Is this person that I think is judging me or that is seemingly judging me, are they living the lifestyle that I wish I could live? Do they represent what I would want to be in life? Because many times you ask these types of questions, it'll be amazing when you actually sit down and you look at the answers to these questions. And it gives us the ability to take a step back and have a different perspective. And in the scheme of things, in my life, how important is it to me what that person thinks? And in the scheme of things, how important is it to me that I meet up to their expectations or someone's expectations? What does their judgment tell me more about? Does it, first internally to me, does it say something about me that I'm allowing their judgment, their opinion of me, to bother me, to actually make me step back and ask these type of questions? What does that say about me? And I really encourage you to kind of reflect and take the time to ask the question and write out some answers, because it may be very revealing to you. And the other thing is their judgment, these people that seemingly think you're crazy or whatever it might be. Does it tell them more of a story about you? Or does it maybe tell you a bigger story about them and about maybe where they're coming from in life? What kind of insecurity they might have that they would rush to judgment and come up with these kind of differing opinions about what it is that you do? What kind of shortcomings might they have that they're trying to, compensate for? So that's the age-old response. You should always consider the source when someone's judging you or apparently thinking that something is off. The next thing you want to do, and this is something that I strongly encourage, is take a step back and think about what is normal. What does normal mean? So my advice on this is when someone calls you abnormal or thinks you're abnormal or thinks you're crazy, rather than react, I want you to take a step back and research what is normal. So for today's example, I went on my computer and I Googled healthy statistics. Okay, I just wanted to find out, what is a normal person's health like? And does that fit into what I want in my life? And I ended up at the CDC's website. It's a, what is it called? An at-a-glance table. And it talks about what the norm is right now, what the average is for most people. And in this particular case, it was for the United States that I zoned in on. What is a normal American? What do they live their life like? What is their health? What is their state of health like? So the first thing that jumped out at me was the average life expectancy of an American citizen. It's 78 years old on average. So what that does to me is it makes me take a step back. I'm 52 years old. I just turned 52. That tells me that if I live a healthy life and I do everything I can, if I live the average lifespan of a US citizen, I have 26 more precious years to live on this planet. So what questions might that raise? Well, for the next 26 years, do I want to live life on my terms? How I feel is right? Or do I want to spend the next 26 years living my life according to other people's expectations? Really, that's what it comes down to. How do you want to live your life? This is your life to live. And maybe you're not as old as I am, or maybe you're older than I am. It only highlights how silly it is that we all spend our time worrying about what other people think. Okay, so that was the first thing that showed up on the CDC table, life expectancy. The next thing, okay, this one you really need to listen to. I always talk about the obesity rates are an all-time high. I'm going to give you some specifics, okay? And maybe you do want to write some things down. This is just something you're supposed to feel today, because I really think there are some people out there that are struggling, and other people may be getting them down. And I wanted to give you some ideas of how to handle that. But for example, obesity. The average adult over the age of 20 right now, as of the last statistics they did, it's increased 10% since 2002, by the way. So the average adult over 20, the obesity rate has increased by 10% since 2002. The average is 41% of Americans are obese over the age of 20. 41%. That means roughly 59% are not obese, but 41% of the population over the age of 20 are obese. We're not talking about a little bit overweight. We're not talking about could lose a couple pounds. We're talking obese. That's usually 30% fat or greater, and it's starting at a real young age. For example, children between the ages of 2 and 5 are 13% obese. Between the ages of 2 and 5 years old, 13%. And as they get older, between the ages of 6 and 11, that increases to 19% obese. And between the ages of 12 and 19, it only gets worse. It goes up to 21% of them are obese. These are our children. And we're not setting a great example being normal at 41% obesity. The next thing I'm going to look at and share with you is the diabetes rate right now. For adults over the age of 20, it has increased 5% since 2002. The average adult over the age of 20, 16% of them have diabetes. 16%. Now, if that doesn't make you step back and think about what being normal is, and whether you want to fall into that category, and maybe question, is what I'm doing, is it worth doing? Well, if that doesn't make you step back and think maybe you don't want to be like the normal person, then that's where I'm trying to lead you. The next statistic is hypertension. Hypertension is what leads up to heart attacks. It's what leads up to all kinds of hormone imbalances in the body, all kinds of issues that happen with our health. Hypertension is a huge cause of that. And right now, on average, the average American adult over the age of 20, 48% are experiencing hypertension right now. Now that is amazing. That's extreme. That is crazy to know that almost 50% of our population are experiencing hypertension. And finally, the last statistic that I'm going to share with you is prescription drug use in the last 30 days. Okay? And this one, again, is astonishing. Our kids that are under the age of 18, they're at 21%. 21% of them are on prescription medication within the last 30 days. Between the ages of 18 and 44, that increases to 35%. 35% of the population that's popping some sort of prescription drug. Between the ages of 45 and 64, it gets ridiculous. 67% of the population are on prescription drugs. And as you can imagine, when you jump over 65 and over, it jumps up to 88% of the population relying on prescription drugs. Now, like I said, research is always the best thing to do rather than react when it comes to, things that come at you in life in general. And when you hear things like, oh, that person says you're crazy, or those people think you're crazy, or hey, you're kind of weird, like why do you run like you do, or why do you lift weights like you do, or what's the big deal about going to yoga, why do you do that? and people are judging you, just always keep that in the back of your mind. Do I want to be normal? Okay, do I want to fit into the norm? Because if that means that you're going to stop what you're doing, you're going to stop doing the exercise that you're doing, or whatever it is you've come up with, or the diet that you're on. You're going to stop doing that because you want to be normal. You want to eat like everyone else. You want to be like everyone else. Well, be ready for that. Do you want to have 48% hypertension in your life? Do you want to have diabetes in your life? Do you want to be obese? Do you want to be like everyone else in society? Or do you want to take charge and make things the way you want them to be in life? Do you want to be healthy? Do you want to be happy? Do you want to be fit? Do you want to know what true joy is in life? Because really, it's all up to you. If you let these things get you down in life, if you allow people's opinions to rule the way you live your life, then you're really going to be letting yourself down in life. You might want to ask yourself, here's another one. In humanity's history of all the amazing accomplishments and achievements that have happened in the world, how many of those people were considered crazy? How many of those people were considered odd or awkward or different? And then how many of them were considered normal? I bet you it'd be very hard to find many people that had an impact on our world that were just considered normal people, that fit into the norm, because that's just not the way it is. People that truly have an impact on this world, that make change in the world, many of them, for example, Nikola Tesla, Benjamin Franklin, Pythagoras, Michelangelo, Winston Churchill, Gandhi, Mother Teresa. These are all people that had a huge impact on our world. And there's many, many, many more names that follow that. And all of them have that in common. They were considered awkward. They were considered different. They were groundbreakers. They were unique. And for me personally, again, this is my perspective, I'd rather be grouped in with those people in life than be grouped in and just fade into the norm of life, the normal people in the world. There's nothing wrong with being normal. I guess everybody would like to fit in life. Everybody would like to feel like they're part of something. But it doesn't mean you have to settle and try to fit into bad behaviors because it's the norm to have bad behaviors. Another thing you can do is you can ask yourself, is what I'm doing that other people think is crazy, is it having a positive impact on my life or a negative impact on my life? Is it making it so that I will be here longer for my family so that I can help take care of them? Is it something that's bringing me joy and makes me feel happier in life? Is it something that's allowing me to give back and to be stronger for other people in society or in my community? And if I stop doing what I'm doing right now, if I stop my crazy workout routine, or if I stop that really strange eating approach that I'm doing, will I gain weight? Will I lose all the benefits that I've worked so hard for? Will I slip back into the norm and be that heavy-set version of myself that gorges on food nonstop, is always snacking, is always reaching out for those sugary snacks? Or will I be okay? Ask yourself that question. Because when we ask ourselves tough questions, it often reveals the answers that we know and that in our gut, we know are right all along. And finally, the last thing I would suggest, and another thing I think about when I think, is it all worth it? Is this health and fitness thing and these different things that I do, are they all worth it? Is I think about the impact that I may not even know that I could be having on someone else. They may be watching me, and at first they may think, man, that's kind of strange what that person does. For example, a 52-year-old male, me as an example, working out, caring about my health and fitness, caring about what I look like, working with this mess that God gave, this what God gave me, my genetics. and trying to be the best version of what that is. Why bother? You're 52 years old. Why bother? You're happily married. Why would you even do this? Why don't you just relax and just be like everyone else? The thing that I think about is that someone else is watching and maybe could learn something from what I'm doing. That was my perspective for a long time now. Maybe the way I'm living my life will rub off on my daughter, for example, or rub off on somebody who's a friend. And they can see what I'm doing and say, you know what? If Ethan's doing that, if Ethan thinks it's important, well, maybe I can think it's important, and maybe there's possibilities for me. Maybe there's something that I could be doing in life that can make me stronger, that can help me shed some weight, that can make me healthier, that can make me feel like I have a full life. Often we don't realize that we do have an impact on others. And we're so caught up in us. We're so caught up in me and my problem. And am I normal? Or am I crazy? Or am I considered awkward? That we don't take a step back and realize that we are having an impact on those around us. We have the potential to change and make people's lives better. And when you realize you have that power within you, there's nothing different between you and somebody out there that you see on the internet, or somebody you see on television, or who's playing sports. There's no difference between the potential they have to impact others and the potential that you have to impact those around you. They may have a bigger audience, they may have a bigger stage that they're on, but we all have the power and the power within us to have a positive impact on others. So always keep that in mind. So in summary, I advise that you do what I did a long time ago, that you stop putting energy into worrying about what other people think. And as I've shared before, being normal isn't all that it's cracked up to be. In fact, being different, taking a step outside of our comfort zone, that's when true amazing change happens in our lives. And crazy is in the eye of the beholder. You are an amazing, beautiful human being who deserves to be healthy, who deserves to be happy in life and feel the true joy that life offers. Don't let someone else's opinion stop you from experiencing what you truly deserve in life. All these wonderful things that are going to come your way. After all, today's episode was made for those that are taking charge, that are moving forward with their health and fitness, that are trying something new, some sort of exercise approach or new eating approach. And you might be just feeling a little bit hesitant because of some reactions you might be getting. Well, you can do things your own way, and everything's going to be okay. In fact, keep doing things the way you want to do them, and life is going to get so much better. Your life is only going to be as amazing as you allow it to be. And as I shared earlier, if you are looking for a new and exciting eating approach, something that can help you shed the weight quickly, but more importantly, keep it off for a long period of time, then feel free to download my Automate Your Plate checklist. It's a step-by-step eating approach that goes through the steps of automating your plate. Automate your plate is a little bit outside the norm for some people. Doing meal prep and eating in a certain controlled way, that might be outside the norm for some people. But hey, I'm cool with it. I can walk around and I feel pretty darn good about myself, the shape I'm in at age 52, and that's what I want for you. So go ahead, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, go to www.ethanlerock.com/automate, and you can download your free copy there. Or if you're watching on YouTube, you can click on the link below and you can get it there. So I'm curious, what is it about your health and fitness that you do in your life that other people out there might just think is crazy or a little bit awkward or different? And what do you do and how do you deal with it? Because I love these types of stories about people that overcome these types of things. It's truly amazing. The human spirit is just wonderful. The way people can overcome obstacles and become the best versions of themselves, because that's what I want for you. I want you to be the best version of you, and I know you have it within you. And I am full of gratitude today. I hope this message reached you on a day when maybe you needed it. Maybe you needed to hear these words, that it doesn't matter what other people think. You are enough. So with that, I'm going to end the show. And until we meet again, stay healthy, be happy, and live your life with intention, the way you want to live it every single day.